SEC Media Days are sponsored by Yellowhammer Roofing.
You know, we need some cowboy hats. I really need one for my teammate Cam Derr, yours truly. Where can we find those?
I'm sure there's many places that we could find those. I'm more of a boots girl. The hat, I don't necessarily want to mess my hair up.
I want the cowboy hat. I want the boots. I may even wear some jorts, some cutoff jean shorts and wear it. Just why not?
I don't know if that's TV appropriate.
That is not TV appropriate. Alongside my teammate Cam Derr, I'm Carl Prather. We are here live, SEC Media Days, the 2024 edition, here from Dallas, Texas, here inside the beautiful Omni Hotel. This is my teammates' first SEC Media Days. This is day one. Your thoughts on the spectacle known as the unofficial start to the college football season?
You know, I think today is kind of tame in comparison to maybe what we're going to see as the week continues to go on. Not a lot of people buzzing around here, but I have a feeling that maybe once Alabama, Texas, all of those other teams start speaking, it's going to be a big deal.
Just you wait. Yeah, you just mentioned it. Day one underway here today. Few teams here in attendance. Of course, LSU, Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt earlier today. We heard from all of the respective head coaches at those respective institutions earlier today as well. Student athletes in the house, 3 respective student athletes for each program as well. Cam, just your early impressions of just some of the teams that were here in the house early on today.
Well, you know, I think it's really cool that you can kind of feel how the season is starting to build, and what's already a really tough conference, what's considered one of the toughest conferences in college football. I feel like all of these guys seem to feel like they have kind of an even playing field going in, and that everybody has the same, you know, opportunity to make it to that SEC championship game this year.
It's really interesting with 16 teams now. Of course, the new kids on the block, Oklahoma and Texas here. We'll hear from Oklahoma tomorrow. Texas will follow suit on Wednesday, along with Alabama Day on Wednesday. And then, of course, folks probably don't actually remember this, but there are no divisions anymore in the SEC. It's literally 16 teams. Top 2 teams, obviously barring any kind of tiebreakers if teams have the respective same schedule. The top 2 teams are going to head to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia for the SEC championship. So it's going to be a for real fight to the finish to try to do that. You can't just think you can win your division and then you can come away with the trip to Atlanta.
Yeah, I think things are going to get really sticky, especially kind of towards the end of the season. I mean, especially with Texas entering. You think about that Alabama game last year, and like if we even have anything close to that coming in this year, it's really anybody's game for those final 2 spots heading into the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be unbelievably competitive this year. But we started the morning off with the commissioner. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, yearly, each and every SEC Media Days under his tenure, gives the State of the League address. Here's a snippet of that from early on this morning in Dallas.
Good morning. I'm going to go off script, which will make my staff nervous. 3 points of recognition this morning. I've often thought we should have a media hustle award, but I'm not really confident in what behavior that may encourage. So I want to give my first shout out to George Somerville, who I was interacting with on Twitter, College Football Chaps podcast, getting here from London. So George, you're first. Second is a guy named Ben Burnell, I think, who captured me for the first interview of SEC Football Media Days yesterday in Utica, New York, right at the finish line of a 15K, which is a new level of hustle being tracked with your race results. And the third would go to Nick Saban, who apparently was denied access because he didn't have his credential this morning and had to go back to his room. So we teach those lessons quickly.
Listen, it does not matter if you've won 6 national championships at Alabama. Does not matter if you have 30-plus NFL first-rounders. You got to wear your lanyard, you got to wear your credential. That's how it rolls.
Hey, I couldn't imagine that he didn't pull the, don't you know who I am?
Well, the funny part about it, because we were just mentioning it, as he walked toward, as we like to say, the black ropes, they looked, and they were like, we know who you are. you still need your credentials. So listen, Nick Saban learning the media process here at SEC Media Days as well. One of his former assistant coaches also in the house earlier today, and that was none other than Ole Miss's head coach Lane Kiffin. Obviously, we all know with the news of the passing of his father, legendary coach within the NFL, Monty Kiffin, passing away last week. A tough time for the Kiffin family and respective loved ones. He had the opportunity to discuss his father, but more importantly, alongside the memory of his amazing dad, he also discussed Nick Saban. And, there was a moment before Nick Saban decided to hire Lane Kiffin. He gave him a chance. And Lane Kiffin kind of discussed that earlier this afternoon about the opportunity Nick Saban bestowed upon Kiffin in T-Town for 3 seasons.
It was huge. I mean, I mentioned it in there, and seeing him today, and obviously in different roles and everything, but he came in, and after I had the first initial media, I was back there, and he came and found me, and it's really cool, a really neat moment. And so I'm very appreciative to him those 3 years, and really him taking a chance on me, not just, okay, what did I learn when I got there, which is all over our program, whether that's coaches hired, former players hired, principals, process over outcome, all kinds of things are all over our program from coach. But the opportunity that he gave me to come there, when I feel like a lot of people wouldn't, because it was controversial. And I give him credit. I've always said this about him, for an old school coach, he is always, which is why to me he was so good for so long in all this movement of college football, because most kind of old school coaches didn't evolve, and they weren't willing to change. They weren't really to take risk, and I think he did that with me, and then did that with offensive structure and change. And many defensive coaches that are old school that did as long as he did that would say, I'm going to go change offense. I can't stand this RPO and eventual tempo stuff. Like, I can't stand this because it's so hard to deal with. You would think most coaches would be like, okay, I want that, and I'm going to go do that. They rarely didn't. And as you study over time, that's why a lot of them didn't succeed, because of that. And he's always evolved, and even though in a lot of ways he's conservative and old school, he evolves and takes risks.
Poignant words from one Lane Kiffin today. You can kind of almost see the evolution of Lane Kiffin himself as he continues his tenure down in Oxford. Folks, we got a sports app. Cam, do you like it, first off?
Oh, I do. Where all of your sports stuff all in one place. Doesn't get any easier than that.
Doesn't get any easier than that, because the 48 Sports Zone app live right now on iOS and Google Play Store. Folks, you can find all things SEC Media Days right at your fingertips. Literally a couple of taps, SEC Media Day tab, boom, there you are. We have all of the latest from Dallas, Texas, plus the latest from around North Alabama and across the Tennessee Valley within our sports community. That's the 48 Sports Zone app, folks. Tap in as we have you covered all week from Dallas, Texas, and starting Tuesday with SWAC Media Days going on as well. We have you completely covered from Birmingham as well. Of course, tomorrow, day 2 of SEC Media Days, we got the Georgia Bulldogs. They're undefeated in the last 2 years in the regular season. Didn't make the college football playoff last year. Alabama got the win in the SEC championship game, leaving the Bulldogs out. Missouri with 10-plus wins. Big win against Ohio State in their New Year's Six bowl game. Oklahoma, the Sooners, new kid on the block. They're going to be in the house for the first time as an SEC member institution. And the Vols of Tennessee, Big Orange. Expected big year for head coach Josh Heupel and an explosive offense and a defense that could potentially become one of the better units within the Southeastern Conference. That will be all tomorrow. 4 more teams in the Metroplex, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, as we get ready for day 2 of SEC Media Days. We have to send a big shout out to our SEC Media Day sponsor, but more importantly, SEC Media Day recap sponsor as well as Yellowhammer Roofing. We thank all the good folks there that have been a part of all of our college football coverage for day 1 and for the rest of the week as well. Super excited about that. Cam, your just final thoughts on day 1 as we kind of turn the page and get ready for day 2.
Again, I think everybody just really has that belief in the system this season and everything that they have going on. I think everybody, like I said, it's really anybody's game. It's going to be really interesting come kickoff here in just six Saturdays?
6 Saturdays from now. Unbelievable to think about, but we're close. Like really, really close. Yeah, I know. We're excited. But more importantly, we will continue to get you excited as we get ready for tomorrow. And as I mentioned, Georgia, one of the headliners, but of course the new kid on the block in Georgia going to be here as well. Once again, big thanks to our sponsor here, Yellowhammer Roofing. Did a fantastic job for us getting this all prepared. More importantly, getting us ready for the college football season as we bring you all information and all the pomp and circumstance and fun times here in Dallas, Texas. Coming up tonight at 10, yours truly, Cam Derr, will all be recapping the entire day one more time. And then before you know it, we're going to get ready for tomorrow, day 2. And we move closer to the start of the college football season. For my teammate Cam Derr, I'm Carl Prather. We hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned, folks. Our Gray Media, we will have a SEC Media Days craze going on right now as we kind of go around the landscape of the Southeastern Conference as well, momentarily, right after we go off the air. But that'll do it for us from here in Dallas, Texas, folks. We'll be right back here tomorrow night. We'll get you covered one more time as we complete day 2 of SEC Media Days. Good night, everyone.
Welcome into Gray Television's SEC Media Day craze as SEC coaches descend on Dallas for the first time in the event's history ahead of the 2024 college football season. It's going to be a whole new look as Oklahoma and Texas join SEC. 16 teams and divisions are no more. This is actually the first time the event has been held in Texas and 4th time overall that's taken place outside of Birmingham, Alabama. And that's not all. There's a lot that is different about the 2024 season. Let's start with the fact that Nick Saban has traded in his whistle for Mike. He is not a coach at SEC Media Days for the first time in almost 20 years. He retired last season. Washington's Kalen DeBoer is set to take over. And who is the top dog in this league? All questions cover right here on your SEC Media Day craze. Riley and the LSU Tigers were on deck first. This is a team that fielded one of the best offenses in the country last year. However, Heisman-winning quarterback Jaden Daniels is gone. Leaves the question of what will Garrett Nussmeier look like for the Tigers? Let's tap in with Baton Rouge.
All right, raise your hand if you have a question.
Coach will go straight down the near aisle on the near, right here on the end.
Head coach Brian Kelly. LSU Tigers are here. A pair of 10-win seasons and bowl victories have stabilized the program. So now the question is, are the Tigers really trending back towards their previous Joe Burrow glory? Or LSU's most recent Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Jaden Daniels cover up problems that will be harder to overcome in 2024? Whatever the case, year 3 of Coach Kelly is on deck.
This will be the most accountable team that we've had at LSU. This will be a team that trusts each other at its highest level. And that has historically led to on-field success.
We've really bought into this culture mindset that we have this offseason in the building and even out of the trying to do things the right way, trying to be good people, in the classroom, in the locker room, just walking past somebody on the street. I think, all of that accumulative, it just builds this culture that we're trying to build. We have such a great core and great group of leaders that, all work together. We all have each other. Hopefully be able to continue to build on it into fall camp and build special.
LSU now truly makes the transition from Jaden Daniels to Garrett Nussmeier at quarterback. Nussmeier has been nicknamed the Nuss Bus by fans in previous seasons, but when speaking about him here Monday, Coach Kelly preferred to mention a car.
When you're the number 2, it's kind of a rental, right? You don't care if you ding it up or, you get a dent here. Well, maybe you guys do. You're not as careful, I guess, right? But when you own the car, there's a sense of pride. You're very thoughtful in everything you do, and you can see that transformation with Garrett and everything that he does in terms of waited for this opportunity to drive this car. And nobody is going to mess with it. Not one player is going to take away the opportunity for it to be successful. And that is why this level of accountability that I talked about is so high, and it's so transparent. He's not afraid to call somebody out if they're not doing it the right way.
LSU's defense definitely prevented the Tigers from accomplishing anything special last year, but LSU is now excited about their new defensive coordinator, Blake Baker, and how he will utilize junior linebacker Harold Perkins.
I enjoy working with Coach. To be honest, he's a great guy. I know he wore cleats at practice. So when I ran him and I saw him with that the first time, it was a go for me because I love working. And it's never a dull moment with him. And the process has been great. Loving it.
At SEC Media Days in Dallas, Jacques Doucet, WAFF 9 Sports.
It will be year 3 under Brian Kelly as the Tigers try and clinch a spot in 12-team playoff. Meanwhile, USC is intriguing. After 2 seasons of winning, the team was sent back to reality. So what will the Gamecocks look like in 2024? Let's hear correspondents in Columbia.
Hello everyone, Rick Henry along with Julia Westerman. The Gamecocks finished 5-7 last year, the season under head coach Shane Beamer. This year, they're looking to the Shane train back on track.
And they're not afraid to talk about what happened last year, but they're ready to shift the narrative. Beamer says he really likes this team, but he knows that not everyone shares that same feeling.
We're going to be picked low whenever you guys do your preseason projections. We'll be picked, 3rd, 14th, 15th, or 16th, I'm sure, at the end of the week, which is fine. We lost a high draft pick in Spencer Rattler, quarterback. We lost Xavier Legette, a front draft pick. It's easy to look and say, well, they struggled last year in some ways, and they lost their quarterback and their best receiver, so they're not going to be very good. I think that's a very lazy thinking, in my opinion. No one talks about the plays that we do return and the experience that we have. But, it is what it is. I mean, we worry about what we can control. I'm not going to go into the first team meeting this year and y'all's projections for the team, and they think we're going to be 13th. We know the team we have. I came here in 2021, Jordan, and there was a columnist that said the ceiling of this team in 2021 was 2 wins, and we, tripled that. And I just know we've got some great young men on this team that are extremely hungry. I get it. We play in the toughest conference in America. It's extremely competitive. We get to play that schedule, but everybody in the SEC plays a tough schedule. But I know what kind of young men we have on this team and how hungry they are to be really, really successful. And realize the biggest thing is just our guys realize we're not that far off. Video came out over the weekend, and it's true. I mean, you look back at some of the games last year that have gone either way, and it's a play here, play there, but that's college football. I mean, it's not just us. Anybody can say that, but key for us is just going to be understanding why those plays did not go our way last season and make sure they do, go in our favor this year.
You never see stuff like that, but I think, the older I've been and the more I've seen certain things through the media, I kind of just broke off the shoulder. Nobody's in the building with us. Nobody's there when we're working out. Nobody's there when we're in film studies. So I can never take it with too much.
South Carolina season gets underway on August 31st when the Gamecocks host Old Dominion. Then it's right into the SEC slate. They travel to Kentucky in week 2.
They need to get off to a good start. They need to go 1-3 in those first 4 games, because still to come, they've got teams like Oklahoma and Alabama. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us. Henry, Julia Westerman from Media Days Craze.
Two teams are down. We have 2 more to discuss, but before we get to that, Coming up next, we're going to show the best from our live stream earlier at SEC Media Days that was packed with interviews. Who's going to join us? Find out next. Vanderbilt has not had a winning season in the last 10 years, and Clark Lee has out his staff and hopes to make the Commodores more competitive in the 2024 season. So what will this team look like? Let's head to Nashville for some intel.
Just like their stadium, Vanderbilt football is going through a remodel. Following a 2-10 season, the Commodores made some major changes to their staff after this offseason. Now that has to turn into wins in 2024.
It's awful. It's not okay. And so coming off the field after UT, we just knew we needed to do everything and anything in our power to change that. And we have. Workouts are going better than they ever have.
This is a season of change for us, and I think there's something that's empowering about the decisions we made back in December and January to strengthen our team, and that includes building some of our systems, the transformation of our roster, the influx of new talented proven players, combined with the development of our team that chose to remain in a weight room led by Robert Steiner, who's done an incredible job here in 7 months, physically transforming our team. Added the addition of Tim Beck and Jerry Kill and the new coaches. I hired Tim because he's proven to be able to run. He had the number 14 rush offense a year ago, the number 12 all in terms of yards per play. Those are both things that are important to us when we look at the measures of performance. Everything that I analyzed Tim's performance measured up to what I was looking for.
We know what happened and trying to make sure that it doesn't happen this year. So we know what we need to do, and we're going to work on it this summer to make sure that we're better for this. Winning this conference is hard, but that just makes it even more exciting.
The coaching all the way to the players, we brought 30, 40 new trans in, all which add something new culture, new style of play, better players. And so you're going to be seeing a whole Vanderbilt just with the style of play, the style of attack, and really just a whole new team top to bottom.
Ask me what game is circled on your list. I feel like every game's circled this year. I mean, we got a year for us. We got new blood in the program like y'all were talking about. So just up there and putting what we worked on this offseason and getting all we got, and it's good.
Another wrinkle to add in, Clark Lee is now taking over the responsibilities of the coordinator. The fourth-year head coach is getting a little bit more hands-on as he tries to write of the program that he once played in.
Let's talk about conference. I'm going to read what the consensus, I looked at a lot of preseason polls of the day where I'll read them off to you and then we'll just run into it. So Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU, Mizzou, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Kentucky, Auburn, Florida, South Carolina, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt. Is Georgia the team to beat this season?
I'd have to say so. It's hard to go against them, what they've been able to do the past 3 years. And I think if you're going to win the SEC, it's one way to go through Athens and the Georgia Bulldogs.
You have to. Georgia, Kirby Smart trying to get his third national championship, in 4 years. Just look at the program he's built. I mean, they're just playing some great football. I think the reason why they didn't win it last, because for some inexplicably, they had trouble stopping the run. They are the big dogs. They are the big boys on top right now, and everybody else has to look at Georgia and try to get through Georgia. So, yeah, they're definitely favorite to me.
That's a wrap on day one. Day will be jam-packed. Georgia, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Tennessee all set to take the stage. You'll want to join us to hear how Kirby Smart and the Dogs to remain a powerhouse in the SEC. But for now, from I'm Bailey Burmaster. Make sure you join us on Tuesday for your SEC Day Craze. Ole Miss is one of the more intriguing teams in the SEC. Lane Kiffin has added 65 portal athletes in the last 3 years. Add that with a cupcakes tool, and it could be a recipe for something special in 2024. Let's get the latest on the Rebels.
Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels walking into SEC days this year with a lot of swagger and a lot of confidence. The Rebels walking with swagger and confidence because they're coming off a season where they won a program record 11 games. One of those wins coming in the Peach Bowl where they absolutely destroyed Penn State 38-25, and a lot of good players off their squad back this year, including quarterback Jackson Dart. Dart throwing for nearly 34 yards last year, 23 touchdowns, and a school season low 5 picks in the backfield. The Rebels losing Quinshawn Judkins, but going to be riding a Bentley. Ulysses Bentley the fourth. His top receiver coming back. Trey Harris, the top tight end. Cade Prescorn is coming back. We know Ole Miss has that offensive line that's extremely experienced, doing good things. And that defense, that Ole Miss Rebels defense, kind of struggled last. What Lane Kiffin did, he went into the portal and plucked some good players. So that defense be even better. So people are saying that Ole Miss should be even better than the two.
We're excited about the season coming up. Our guys have done a really good job this summer and working hard, and it's an exciting time. Great schedule, and just ready to work and just excited about our opportunity, our collection of players, and we got a long ways to go. It's more just about the process of daily work with our players and getting them better. And I do think we have a good collection of players that decided to return, the 3 that are here today that had a chance to go to the pros, and then they were able to add some really intriguing pieces to that. But again, there's a lot of work to do, and all those expectation stuff out there, those mean nothing. Played some good defense here at times, and had good D-line play. I don't think anybody would say we've been dominant. Maybe a game here or there, but for a continued amount of time, and there is the potential on paper, for that to be a really strong group. But again, that as the whole team, but maybe as much as any position has a lot of work to do, and it's got to come together and play really well. And because obviously, if that position group's playing really, completely changes the whole game. So that would be really exciting for them to develop the way that we would hope. I do really like that we have length on defense. We've really, even though we've had some good players on defense, in general, I felt like when we played the upper echelon teams, we've kind of been the smaller, shorter team. And I do think that on offense too, we've increased length and have length runners, but defense increased that. And, now we got a lot of work to do, and we got to play really well and all that stuff, but I guess we look better coming off the bus now.
Now prayers for the Kiffin family. Lane losing his father, NFL coaching, Monty Kiffin, over the weekend. Ole Miss starts on August 31st at home against Furman.
Yeah, I think Coach Kiffin is the best offensive mind in college football. His ability to adjust mid-game, being able to adjust on the fly is unlike anything I've ever seen before. He's gifted that way. And at the same time, he's somebody who can really mold an offense based on his personnel. He's in the same offense every year. He bases his offense personnel on being able to put his team in the best to succeed. And I've grown and learned so much from him, and I'm very grateful to be able to play him. I think from a team standpoint, I kind of mentioned it opener, just, we bring in a lot of talent through the transfer portal, and we're able to attain a lot of guys. But, talent doesn't make a team. So we got to continue to grow together and develop our culture.
Challenges is definitely the contact. Every single day is going as hard as possible, and everybody's out there trying to make a name for themselves. Best thing for sure is definitely the fans, and then the interactions with the fans. Whenever you go out there for the first time and you see and you hear the crowd roar, it's not words to even describe it. And I'm super stoked for the season this year. I'm just ready to get going.
a dull moment with Kiffin leading the way. We are done with day one. Clark Lee revamping his staff and hoping of changing tide. We're going to check in next with Nashville. In addition to the chaos of SEC Media Days, Gray Television is hosting a 2-hour live stream every single day. It is packed with interviews from local affiliates, media bounties, and much more. Let's go to the best of Monday's stream.
Welcome back to your Gray Television Media Day. I'm joined now by John McDavid, SEC coordinator of all the fall officials. You got the big job. Spent many years officiating all the conferences you've been a part of, your history, just how you ended up here with the SEC.
Well, good afternoon, Bell. Thanks for the opportunity to talk with you today. I played college ball and through an injury, not in any big football program, but through an injury, I was over by before my junior year even started. And my senior year, I was doing a variety of things all Saturdays to earn some extra money. And one of those things was ball boy during the game. And during one of those games my senior year, I said, you know what, when I'm done here and I fly back to Southern California to go start my career, being an official might be a great way to stay close to the game. So that's exactly it. I started my officiating in 1989 in San Diego. Was working high school, junior college football out in in California. California doesn't really have a lot of D3 programs. Junior college football is the big thing out there. I moved in the Big East over to the SEC. My last year in the field was 2018, and the reason it was my last year in the field after the 2018 season, the position of coordinator for Southeastern Conference football. I had some individuals talk to me that maybe I would be interested in doing that. It wasn't obvious to me at first that that's what I wanted to do. And next thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. Next thing you know, I'm a commissioner. I'm a coordinator of officials for the SEC.
How much does all this college football realignment really, if it even does, influence the bowl game, so to speak, and at the end of the year, especially with the 12-team playoff coming in play? I mean, Greg Sankey was actually pressed on pregnant today about, 16 teams is today and tomorrow, but is that tomorrow or what's to come, because the college landscape is changing so much? How much do you anticipate, the bowl to change in the future with how much is?
Yeah, we'll learn a lot over the next 2 years. We're still in the last 2 years of our 12-year contract. So this year we'll host a quarterfinal, which means the top conference champs will get byes. More than likely, we'll probably get the ACC champ. But we'll learn